Okay, we're in our 40 days of love. Are you in love?
Yes.
Can I see the hands of those who are in love? Okay, who are you in love with? Okay, why is love so important? As we know that we go through a lot of difficulties and problems in life, and also many people experience a lot of sicknesses and diseases in life. And we have to understand that even though there are a lot of physical reasons for that, most of the diseases have its connection to the emotions, to what's going on inside the life of the person. And so the Bible tells us that when Jesus was crucified on the cross, He has taken all our infirmities with Him. This includes our emotional infirmities, our physical infirmities, and whatever infirmities that we are experiencing. And so many times, we experience physical healing when we have released our pains, our emotional baggages to the Lord. So because many pastors have testified that it's not just about coming to God and asking God, Lord, heal me today, heal me, heal me, heal me. Many times, a pastor is led by the Lord to deal with certain things that a person is facing inside. And when a person is healed inside, many of those physical infirmities or physical sicknesses are also healed as well. And that's why we're talking about the 40 days of love, because we believe that love is a very important characteristic that we have to have as Christians. The Bible tells us God is love. And the Bible tells us that those who love knows God, but those who do not love does not know the Lord. And therefore, love enables us to live out the life that we need to live as Christians. And so last time we said that love is action. It is not just words. When you say, I love you, it is not just words that you say, but it has to be shown through your action. And we begin to talk about what love is. We talked about love is patient last week. And we said patience is very important, but it's also very difficult because many times we lack patience. And that's why we get sick and we have to become a patient in the hospital. So we are forced to learn patience in the hospital because there we cannot do anything but have to wait on the doctor and on the nurses. But today we're going to continue with the second thing that we would like to focus on. Love is not envious. Love is not envious. Okay, so the Bible says again, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it is not rude, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrong. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. I pray that at the end of next month, on March, we will be able to memorize this whole chapter of 1 Corinthians 13. And last week I gave you an assignment. I wonder how many of you did that. If not, we can still do it. So I would like you to list down all the definition of love here. Love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy. Write it down, one line at a time. And then put a chart. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Every day when you go home, put a check on what characteristic of love that you have demonstrated that day. And put an X on what characteristic of love that you feel you failed to demonstrate that day. So as I said, as you do that, at the end of the week, you will be able to have an idea what area you need to come to God and surrender and ask God to work so that that area in your life will be demonstrated. So let's say, for example, today, you lose your temper. And so when you go home, you put an X, not easily angered. But today, you were not envious. So you can put a check. Okay? So at the end of the week, if the area that says not easily angered, you have 3 or 4 X's, so it means that area you have to allow God to deal in your life. So you can come to God, ask the Lord to reveal what's the causes of that anger. How come you are easily angered? Okay, so as we do that, we will continue to grow in the area of love. But today we're going to focus on envy. So what is envy? The Bible says, do not envy, or love does not envy. It comes from the Greek word oziloi, to be zealous. Wow, to be zealous. To be zealous for or against any person or thing. And that is to be eager for or anxious for or against anyone. So this word can be used in a positive sense and in the negative sense. So the word zeloi is very synonymous to zealousness. And in fact, that's the meaning of zeloi. Okay? So it is used often in a good sense. Such as in 1 Corinthians 12:31 and chapter 14 verse 1, when we are told, eagerly desire the spiritual gift. In other words, zealously desire the spiritual gift. But it could also be used in the negative sense or the bad sense. To be zealous against someone. To be zealous against a person. So, what's the difference between envy and zealousness? Later on, we're going to talk about that. But there's a story about that D.L. Moody once told about an eagle. An eagle who was envious about another eagle because he cannot outfly that eagle. That eagle would fly high and faster than he. And so one day, he saw a sportsman who's shooting birds. And he came to this sportsman with a bow and arrow and said to him, I wish you could bring down that eagle up there. And the bowman or the sportsman said to the eagle, I can if I have more feathers in my arrow. And so that eagle got a piece of feather from his wing and gave it to that sportsman. And so that man put the feather on his arrow and shoot. But it failed because the eagle was flying so high. And so the eagle got another feather, gave it to the man, he tried again, and he still could not reach the height of the eagle. Until finally, that eagle gained so much feather that he could no longer fly. And the bowman, the sportsman, turned to that eagle who cannot fly and shot that eagle. So that's the picture of what envy is. Usually when we are envious with somebody, it is not the other person who gets to be harmed. We ourselves are the one who come in harm's way. How many of you have seen Transformers, Dark of the Moon? Only the guys? Okay, but in that movie, we know that there was supposed to be a good Autobot named Sentinel Prime. But only to find out that he has his own agenda, wanting to save his planet. And so he sided with the bad guys, the Decepticon. And so while fighting with Optimus Prime was almost beaten. He lost one arm, and the other arm was about to be cut off. And so he was fallen, and this Sentinel Prime, who was the mentor of Optimus Prime, was about to give the final blow when suddenly he was shot by Megatron. They were supposed to be siding together, but Megatron turned against Sentinel Prime, despite their common agenda. What was the reason? The reason was this girl named Carly. It seems that she didn't play any important role. However, she played a major role there because she knew the weakness of Megatron. Megatron wanted to be the head and not the tail. So he doesn't want to be under the command of somebody else. And so she talked to Megatron and told him, do you think after all this is over, you will become the top man? And so Megatron's enviousness was built up until he would not settle to be the second in command. And so he turned against Sentinel Prime. And thus both of them died. And so having envy is very dangerous because it makes us decide things that we are not objective about. And that's why we have to be careful. But the difference between envy and jealousy is this. When we talk about envy, it is an emotion related to coveting what someone else has had. You see something that somebody else had, and so you want that badly. And so you have that covetousness, wanting that, so you're envious. Whereas jealousy is the emotion related